Have you ever had a fight with someone and thought you could never be friends? Well, sometimes the strongest friendships can start in the most unexpected ways. With his striking white hair and dark eyes, he was always moving, always playful, but had a bit of a short temper. At first, Abdu and Ayam just didn't get along. They saw each other at school and the park, but there was always this tension, like two opposite forces. Ayam found Abdu too quiet, and Abdu thought Ayam was a bit too loud. They were always competing, whether it was on the swings or in a game of tag. The small disagreements started piling up, creating a big wall between them. One sunny afternoon at the playground, things reached a boiling point. They were arguing over the rules of a game they were playing with some other kids. Ayam, with his short fuse, got really worked up. "That's not how you play," he shouted, his voice getting louder. Abdu, trying to stay calm, replied, "It is, you're just not listening." But his calm tone only seemed to make Ayam angrier. The argument got heated. Words were thrown back and forth, each one sharper than the last. Before anyone knew what was happening, the argument turned into a serious fight. They pushed and shoved, anger completely taking over. The other kids backed away, shocked. It was a messy, unhappy scene, and it ended as quickly as it started, leaving both boys breathing heavily, standing apart. The fight was over, but the bad feelings had just begun. Ayam stormed off in one direction, and Abdu walked away in the other. Later that day, sitting alone in their own rooms, a heavy feeling of regret washed over both of them. He was supposed to be fun and playful, not mean. Meanwhile, Abdu sat by his window, looking out at the sky. He felt a knot of sadness in his stomach. He was disappointed in himself for letting his anger get the better of him. He was the thoughtful one, the one who was supposed to think before he acted, but he had let Ayam's temper get to him. The fight hadn't solved anything. It just made everything worse. The silence in his room felt heavy, filled with regret. As the evening went on, Abdu started thinking. He knew that staying angry wouldn't fix anything. He remembered the look on Ayam's face after the fight. It wasn't just anger. There was hurt there too. Abdu realized that maybe he hadn't really tried to understand Ayam. He was so focused on being right that he didn't listen. He made a decision. He had to talk to him. It was scary, but it was the right thing to do. The next day at school, Abdu saw Ayam sitting by himself on a bench, looking down at his shoes. Taking a deep breath, Abdu walked over. "Hey," he said softly. Ayam looked up, surprised. He was expecting Abdu to still be angry. "Can I sit here?" Abdu asked. Ayam just nodded. They sat in silence for a moment, the air thick with awkwardness. Finally, Abdu spoke. "I'm sorry about yesterday," he said, looking at Ayam directly. Ayam looked at Abdu, his dark eyes wide. He hadn't expected an apology. Seeing Abdu being so open and honest made his own wall of anger crumble. "I'm sorry too," Ayam mumbled, his voice much quieter than usual. "I have a really bad temper sometimes. I just get so fired up, and I don't think it was my fault for starting the fight." It was a simple conversation, but it was powerful. They talked about what happened, not to place blame, but to understand. Abdu explained that he sometimes comes across as cold when he's just trying to think. Ayam admitted that his energy sometimes turns into anger when he feels misunderstood. They learned that respecting each other's differences was important. They both made a mistake, and they were both brave enough to admit it. As they kept talking, the conversation shifted. The tension was gone, replaced by a new, curious energy. So Abdu started, a small smile on his face. "What's that on your backpack?" He pointed to a keychain of a famous anime character. "Oh, this. It's from my favorite show. You know it." Abdu grinned. "Of course." "You watch anime?" Suddenly, they weren't rivals anymore. They were two people who had just discovered a huge shared interest. They started talking excitedly about their favorite characters, the best fight scenes, and the most emotional moments. They talked about video games they both played and other shows they loved. They discovered they had a lot more in common than they ever imagined. The wall that had been between them was completely gone. By the end of their conversation, they were both laughing. The fight from the day before felt like a distant memory, a strange and difficult starting point for something new and much better. Ayam looked at Abdu. "You know, for a quiet guy, you're pretty cool," he said with a playful grin. Abdu laughed. "And for a guy with a temper, you're not so bad yourself." Ayam stuck out his hand. "Friends?" he asked. Abdu took his hand and shook it firmly. "Friends," he confirmed, with a genuine smile, and that's how it began. Abdu and Ayam's friendship, born from a big fight and a lot of regret, became one of the strongest in the whole school. They learned that even after a serious conflict, forgiveness and understanding can build a bridge to an amazing friendship. Sometimes you just have to be the one to take that first step. Thanks for watching our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.